It doesn't matter who you are or where you are from. We all gather here at the King's Circle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for a special episode of King's Circle. My name is Brandon Blackman, and I'm joined by my co-host
Antonio Mayford.
And today we have a very special guest. Now, this guy is a very close friend of mine. I look at him as a brother. He is a medical student, a Forex specialist, and he's also a fitness trainer. I want to welcome Mcguire Pinder to the show.
How you doing, guys, man? Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
No problem. So, we got a good topic today, guys. We have a very interesting topic today because we did a very massive vote online and we got most of the votes for this particular topic. So, the topic for today is going to be knowing when to be assertive or submissive in relationships as men, also tying that into the issue of men's mental health. So, okay, I'm going to go first and I'm going to start giving my thoughts on the topic. I think in today's society, we have a big issue with regards to overly exerting dominance in relationships as men, because oftentimes we as men believe that we need to command the room, command respect, especially when it comes to our relationships. But I am of the belief that when it comes to those sort of things, you have to let your actions speak for themselves. I believe once you carry yourself as a man with respect, you treat your lady with respect, and you carry yourself with a certain level of dignity, you don't have to assert your dominance every single step of the way. You understand what I'm saying? What do you guys think?
I agree. I agree to a certain level, because to a certain extent that is, because trying to assert dominance, especially knowing that you have to force it, can be exhausting.
Okay.
To be quite honest. And I think something that a lot of men get wrong is the concept of dominance per se. I think we look at dominance as more of a macho man type of vibe all the time. That's what it has to be, necessarily. I mean, in a sense, that is a part of it. Let's be real.
Right.
Showing, that you're still physically, that guy, or showing your actions a certain way in an aggressive or maybe a stern way in a sense is dominance. But I think dominance also comes into play when you also handle situations that doesn't require you to show aggression or show, in a sense, dominance per se. It's hard to word it. It's hard to word it because it might not come off as dominance per se, but you handle situations that doesn't require you to give an expected reaction, meaning, an aggressive reaction per se. You handle situations based off intellect, based off logical thinking, mixed with emotional, intelligence, and you just handle your shit. You handle your stuff. So yeah, for me, it's a lot of different things. But that's my points of form.
Talk to us, Mcguire.
Yeah, man. I think you guys made some excellent points. I'm going to agree with them as well as, give my take and expand on it a little bit. I think as men, we have a misconception of what dominance is. Yeah. You have to be the biggest. You have to be the strongest. You have to outwardly show that that you are in command and control of situations, but that's not necessarily what dominance is. I love the point Antonio was making, because I'm a firm believer in having discipline and emotional control. It's not all about having the last say. It's not all about being the loudest. It's about understanding which situation requires which type of reaction and what type of man you need to be for the situation. For example, for me, I think you could be a dominant person if you are playing sports. I know we're talking about relationships, but for example, if you decide that you want to play a sport, Brandon, you and I, we've trained before, we could exert our dominance by trying to be strong or to take our PRs to the next level. That's a certain type of dominance too. But then when you get with your children, or when you be with your family, when you're with your woman, you don't have to be the big, strong, aggressive guy. And sometimes showing control and mastery over yourself and saying, hey, you know, this is the time I need to be soft. This is the time I need to be gentle. This is the time I need to be understand. This is the time for me to listen. Because sometimes having control of yourself is not just speaking, but being able to actively listen and hear what other people have to say and take it into consideration. So like I say, I love what Brandon said. I love what Antonio said. And just to add on to it, I think true dominance is knowing that you don't have anything to prove, as well as having an extreme amount of emotional control. And we don't understand that, or a lot of men are lacking that. They feel as if they have to be over the top, aggressive. That's not necessarily the case. If you can control yourself, you can be dominant in any situation.
Correct, absolutely, and just to take on from that point, I also believe that one of the reasons why we have misconceptions when it comes to asserting dominance and being submissive is leading into the point of mental health. We have a lot of men out there who deal with a lot of very stressful situations at home. For example, young men dealing with situations like, let's say, lack of respect from their mother. Now, I've been in several situations where I've seen even my friends, they've struggled with situations at home where the mother absolutely gives them no respect. So then now when they're placed in a relationship setting, they feel the need to overly press this, like at the slip of a dime. Oh, I'm a big man, don't do this to me. I'm a big man, do this to me. I'm a big man. And it's like this need to puff up yourself every single time you're faced in a situation with either a female or you're a woman. And I think what we need to do as men is take a step back and say, you know what? I have a lot of trauma in this regard. I've had a lot of trauma at home, and it's affected me and the way how I view certain things and certain issues with masculinity. And then I feel like once we start to conquer and understand that how a person treats you should not necessarily reflect who you are as a man, and you take control of your own self and your own actions and treat people accordingly. As Mcguire was saying, not every moment is going to require you to be the big bad wolf. Not every moment is going to require you to be the big dog in the park. Sometimes it's okay to say, especially in relationships, it's okay to say, all right, babe, well, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry. Tell me where I went wrong here. Tell me what I need to do better here. Be submissive. And I think this is where the submissive part in relationships come in, because it's a give and take. It's a give and take, guys. When you're in a relationship, it's a give and a take. And once you have a queen that understands that, it's not going to be a smooth process all the time, but it's going to be a smooth process in the sense of she's going to submit to you and you're going to submit to her. But it all starts with you accepting that you don't have to be the big dog every single time.
I agree. I think when you come from a household where you aren't seen per se as a man, especially for a lot of, when you look at the Caribbean, you know that usually it's a single parent household, and it leans heavy when it comes to single mothers,
Right.
to be very honest, right? So when you look at something like that, when you're raised in a household, especially with a mother, she doesn't necessarily, she could teach you everything. She could teach you so many different things, but at the end of the day, she can't really teach you per se everything about being a man. She could teach you how to treat a woman, teach you the best ways to go about things, but there's only so much she could teach you. And in a sense, sometimes that lack of a man in the household, you will obviously be raised in a sense with a certain deficiency if you aren't around the right role models per se, because you don't need to have a man in the house, but once you surround yourself, I mean, it's a need, but it's definitely a need, but once you surround yourself with the right role models per se, that deficiency then becomes filled in a sense. So they take that deficiency into a relationship, and they always think that they have to prove themselves. So I'm really glad that Mcguire and you pointed that out, because I think a big thing is a man knowing that he is unable to complete a task is also okay.
Yes.
A man knowing that, okay, you know what, I know what I'm capable of, and for right now that doesn't fit in terms of what I can achieve for now, but that's okay. In a sense, you're in a position to know that, okay, I might not be on this level right now, and I accept that, but I can be. Or right now it's something that I can't do, and I know that. And I think we try so hard to prove that we're the strongest in the room, even though we know deep down that maybe that's not accurate, but maybe I'm stronger in a different area. You know, we always say that we always have to constantly prove ourselves, and especially in a relationship, as you said, it comes out a lot, especially when we look at our women in the sense that define us, because we think that is a competition that we have to compete with our women as well. But maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's, I mean, there are some women who do try to compete, let's be real.
Right.
But half the time is really, you know, she being a woman.
Right.
You know? And we sometimes aren't accustomed to seeing how she reacts, or we might see it as a act of defiance in terms of how she wants to start a fight. I go and make sure I'm on top. I go and make sure that it's this guy. But sometimes it's just, you know, it's just the balance a little bit off sometimes, and that's okay, you know. So yeah, that's it for now for me.
What are your thoughts on that, Mcguire?
Yeah, man. Listen, you guys are just making excellent points, you know, left and right. You know, from this discussion started, I feel that you guys have been on fire. But just to add to what you guys were saying, what I'm thinking of is that a lot of men have an issue with having a fractured ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, when your ego is not in check, you know, there are different ways that you could express that. You know, you have some men, their fractured ego is expressed by a lack of confidence. You know, they don't feel the need to be dominant. They don't want to be assertive. They don't feel like they're in control. And then, you know, we have the type that I think that we can focus on a lot in this conversation, which is the overly aggressive, dominant type of man. Feels that his say is the only say, or he should always have the last say. So, you know, I'm just going to talk about the mental health aspect, and I'm going to talk about how it, you know, correlates to relationships. Yeah. I feel as if once your ego is in check, right, and you're secure in yourself as a person and as a man, the need to always control the situation won't be there, because you know that who you are as a person is not contingent upon the outcome of the situation. You know that regardless of what happens, that you're always going to be confident. You're always going to be a man. I think that that's something we have to embrace as men. Being a man is our birthright. All of us in this conversation, we are men regardless. It doesn't matter how big we are. It doesn't matter how strong we are. It doesn't matter how much money we think we have. It doesn't matter how smart we are. We are inherently men. So you don't have to fight for something that you already are. But, you know, some people feel like, hey, I'm not a man. So I'm not a man unless I'm this tall. I'm not a man unless I'm this big. I'm not a man unless I have this account. I'm not a man unless I have 5, 6 different women. So they have to do things to gratify themselves and to prove something to themselves that already exists. You're already a man. You don't have to prove that. So when you bring that fractured ego, and no matter which way that you express it, you bring that fractured emotional health, right? You bring it into a relationship. That's where you can lead to the aggression, the domineering, the abusiveness, and that's what causes things to be unhealthy. Now, when it comes to either being dominating or submissive, we have to understand that when you get in a relationship with someone, whether it be with your partner, whether it be with your girlfriend, whoever it is, it's a team thing. You know, Antonio made a great point about the whole competing with one another. Well, I think some women have to understand this too. It's not a competition. It's not about who could do this or who could do the most. I think we have to understand the significance of being a team player. Everyone doesn't have to be the quarterback. If we do a football team and everyone's playing quarterback, or we play in basketball, everybody's a point guard, everyone is a center, then your team wouldn't function. You have different roles for different reasons. So, for example, if I have my woman or I have my wife, and they'll say she's really good with finances, right? She's really good with money management. So since I'm the man, I have to be dominant. I have to hold the cash, but I have bad money habits. That brings us down as a team because she is better with that. You see what I'm saying? So if she is something that she is more skilled in, because I'm secure within myself as a man, I don't have a problem saying, hey babe, hold this cash.
Handle the business.
Handle it. Because you have more financial skill. You are better suited for that role. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't understand, right, stepping down from certain things doesn't make you any less of a man. You're always going to be fighting over things, and then the couple as a whole is going to go down, because you are attacking the wrong issue, and that may not be your strength. But like I say, it ties into the fact that, you know, we feel as if we have something to prove. We don't know the blessing of what it is to be a man. We don't know that we are inherently men. You don't have to prove anything to be a man. You already are. So once once you accept yourself for who you are, then it's easy to be submissive in different roles because there's nothing to prove.
Exactly, and that is a wonderful points made there, Mcguire. And I
was
think
hot.
one of the ways that we could concrete this kind of behavior where our young men and our men are comfortable in themselves is, again, as we always mentioned in the previous episodes of King Circle, is to start from young. I want to dive into the issue of dealing with a partner that is not submissive as a man. No, there are a lot of situations in relationships where, especially in today's society, where we have a lot of issues with not much submissive women, in my opinion. There are a lot of people that would argue and say, well, once a man comes correct, a woman will be submissive. But I still think there are a lot of situations where even when men bring good qualities to the table, you have partners that are very rebellious and don't understand the concept of give and take. So I think as men in those sort of situations, this a lot ties into self-worth. Once you understand your worth as a man and you understand what it is you're looking for in a woman, I think you should not find yourself in a situation where you are with a spouse or a person who is not submissive or who does not understand the notion of submission to your partner. All right, what you guys think about that?
What I think about that is, I think we live in a time where women know, or which I'm glad, where women are seen not as weak, but more on the strong end,
Right.
I also believe that that's good, but I think that another issue is that, not an issue, another thing is that some women become so dominant sometimes in a relationship because they come across a man who's very, very submissive per se, in terms of he isn't seen as a man to them, meaning that they had to wear the pants all the time, or they had to carry the relationship, or they had to do things that, as a man, even if you weren't the most dominant or stern, you would still have to, carry shit. You would still have to handle it to a certain extent. Some women are caught up with carrying the weight in a lot of relationships. So when they get in a relationship with a man who's been carrying weight, who's been moving and handling his own situations and going about things in a correct way that he sees fit, especially who's very self-aware of himself and stuff like that, it's a lot. But you guys butt heads a lot because she's not used to a man like that. She's not used to a man having everything to put together when it comes to him. And I'm not, when I say put together, I don't necessarily mean fancy car, big house, and money. I mean, like, for himself, he knows where he stands. He knows how to handle conflict. He knows how to handle situations. And sometimes they aren't used to a situation like that. So in some cases, they would butt heads because they're so caught up with being in a position of, handling the dominant side, that they don't know how to be submissive to a man who is dominant, to a man who knows how to handle situations and handle shit when shit needs to be handled. So and something like that, I think for some women, they go understand when you find a man like that, you have to let your man be a man. And when I say have to, I don't mean that as to say you just gotta lay it down and accept whatever he's saying. No, still be you. But the same way how he lets you be a woman, especially when you find a man who's very self-aware and treats you like a queen, you have to also let him be a man.
Correct.
So yeah, that's my point for now.
Talk to us, Mcguire.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff, gang. It's always, like I say, you guys are just bringing great points. It's almost hard for me to expound on some of the stuff that you guys are saying. But I think just going back to the whole situation with the ego, I think that it definitely goes both ways. In terms of, I see, for me, domination has a different criteria. It has a different meaning than I feel it may have to a lot of people. Like, for me, domination doesn't mean overpowering and making the other person feel small.
Right.
You feel me? And then you have women who do come from traumatic backgrounds, who do have things that they're dealing with. So they have to then realize and understand within themselves, a woman too, hey, you know, I have some stuff going on. I may have come from a bad house. I may have come from some bad relationships, but I have to be the more aggressive one. And they have to realize that, listen, every person or every man they meet is not going to be like that. And that type of behavior may not necessarily be warranted or may not be healthy for the relationship. So it's just them having the ability to understand who it is that they're with and who it is that they're dealing with. You see, you feel me? So another thing is I don't have an issue with a woman being strong. You know, I don't have an issue with a woman with a strong personality. I don't think that that's a problem. I actually think that's great. You know, just a testament to Tony and stuff. So I think it's wonderful. I think women should be more empowered. But I think it becomes an issue where you feel that your empowerment comes from emasculating the man.
Yeah.
That's
powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
That's where it comes from. So for me, to be honest, I don't feel good or feel powerful as a man when I tell me, hey, sit small. You listen to me. If you don't submit to me, then I'm gonna have to act violent. I'm gonna have to be aggressive, or I don't feel within myself that I'm dominated. Because if I tell my woman to jump, she don't jump. How high? You see what I'm saying? So for me, because I don't have that need, because that's not what dominance is. To me, dominance is having mastery over yourself. It's being able to handle your situation differently. It's not necessarily putting down someone else. So for the women who are saying, hey, I need to put this guy down in order to feel better about myself, then you have to realize, hey, that's your problem. That's something that you have to work on. Correct. That's not necessarily the man's issue. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is, if we can't come together cohesively, because times are changing, rules are changing. Someone may make more money than the other person. Someone may be doing more business. Someone may be working more. But if you are not secure within yourself as a person, if a woman is insecure within herself with being feminine and saying, hey, me submitting to him in a certain situation because he is better suited for the role, or this is what he is good at, it makes me less of a woman, and that's a problem that she has to work on. So I think the issue that we're having in society is that, you know, people want to come together and they don't want to heal their own issues and trauma. They let seep into the relationship, and that's why I can't move forward. I believe that you should work on yourself first. Make sure that you're a healthy person before you go and deal with someone else. So for the women who don't think, hey, I have to put a man down to feel good, that's not healthy, and that's something that they should deal with before they say, hey, I want to be in a relationship with someone.
Right. Absolutely. Amazing points there, Mcguire. I couldn't have put it any better, honestly. I don't know. I told you going to the Arnold Mcguire because that was some good stuff, bro. And I think that for the queens listening, it would cause a solid effect, because honestly, it's not only the men that we want to really, even though again this is mainly male focused, if in any way we could cause queens to help elevate themselves even in how they view their relationships, that's also what we're here for. And I think Mcguire's point just now offers so much wisdom, not only for us as men but for the queens out there that tune into King Circle every week. So just to wrap it up, guys, for each of us, let's give our view on how, just an overview and just a summarizing point of how we can tell our kings out there to know when to be submissive and when to be dominant. For me, summarizing it all and just giving my final sentiments on the issue. Men, you don't
zoom in
have...
like that.
Yeah. You know you're paying that little zoom in, yeah. It is important to understand that you as a man, right? It is important to understand you are a man regardless. As my King Mcguire said, you are a man regardless. And taking the back seat sometimes does not take away from who you are as a king. It is all a part of making sure that relationships, our black families continue growing in the correct way, because again, it's a give and take. If you know, guys, that there've been traumatic experiences that you've had in the past, be okay with reaching out, be okay with admitting it, be okay with dealing with yourself internally and emotionally, understanding that you don't need to pound your dominance every single time. You are worthy, she is worthy, and once both of y'all understand that, I believe the give and take will go smoothly. Right? That's my point there. To summarize.
I mean, you done summarize it. You know, I ain't really much I can add to that. What I would say is, I guess I would lean more into the relationship. If you feel as a man you have to compete all the time, I don't know, in relationships, you know, we have a little friendly competition between me and our queens. But if you feel like every single thing you do has to be something where you have to compete, you have to really step outside and really evaluate where you stand overall. Are you comfortable with being in a position where every minute you have to compete with your partner, or do you feel exhausted having to be in a position where you always have to compete? You know, you have to take that into consideration. Take into consideration, as Brandon said, that it's a give or take, and that sometimes taking the back seat. I prefer the passenger seat. You know, taking the passenger seat. Yeah, take the passenger seat, man. Take the passenger seat sometimes. And also know that dominance is how you see it, how you portray it, obviously at the end of the day, but it's really how you handle situations and how you see yourself elevating as a man, how you can be in a positive place where you are comfortable with who you are. So yeah, that's my point. That's my point.
Mcguire, finish it off, my brother.
Yeah, man. Excellent points, Brandon. Excellent summary, Antonio. You know, you guys, excellent job.
Thank you.
The thing, you know, I would want to add to that, you know, add to what these guys are saying that may, you know, help with the coming together and accepting yourself as a man is, you know that it's okay to express your emotions. You know, and I think that's something that we have to work on as men too. It's okay to express your emotions to yourself. Yes. And I also feel this one goes for the women too. You have to make sure that the man that you're with is okay expressing his emotions to you and talking about it. Oftentimes as a man, we feel as if to be strong, right? It's to withhold. It's to suffer in silence. It's to not say what's going on. Because, you know, as a man, and I've had friends who had things that have bothered them for years about their mothers, about their family members, about their friends, about their girlfriends, things that they've come into contact with that they have not fully dealt with, they have not spoken about because they have never felt comfortable expressing their emotions because they never want to seem weak. So I know we talk about, you know, loving yourself and understanding who you are as a man and accepting yourself, but how can you do it if you can't accept your own emotions and express them? Correct. So I just want to end it off by saying, you know, being open is a sign of strength. Being able to say, hey, you know, I don't like this. This makes me uncomfortable. Or I saw, you know, if you're talking to your girl, I saw you talking to this guy. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that. I don't mean to seem jealous. Mm-hmm. This is how I feel about it. How can we deal with that? And how can we do it in a coherent way? Not to say, you know, you want to be jealous or overly aggressive or insecure.
But you're a human being, right?
You're a human being. But I think we insecurity comes from not understanding oneself. So if you don't understand what makes you tick and how you feel, you know, you cannot be fully assured in yourself as a man. So that's my thing. That's what I'm going to leave the Kings with today. You know, it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to express your emotion. And I encourage everyone to understand their own emotions and to be, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're sad about something, you don't have to go and see a movie and cry about it or however you want to deal with it, but it's okay to express it. So, you know, once you're able to deal with yourself and be emotionally healthy, then that should definitely encompass what you guys were saying and accepting yourself and being able to, you know, be a complete man. So that's what I want to leave with.
Fantastic, Mcguire. Fantastic. So, guys, this has been episode 4 of King Circle. Being healthy mentally, it's okay to accept your emotions. It's okay to open up, guys. It is okay to understand that you are a man, and it is okay to take the back seat sometimes and let your lady take the drive. That does not take from you as a king. Guys, this has been a fruitful episode. I want to thank Mcguire Pinder, my brother, my fellow entrepreneur, my fellow fitness enthusiast. You can find him online on Instagram at Mcguire_Pinder92, and you can also follow his business page. 1 second, guys. Oh Jesus! Hi, Auntie Haiti. I'm gonna have to call you back.
You can't do that over.
Oh God! Yes. So you can also follow his business page at Student Millionaires, where he specializes in teaching forex trading along with his team. Again, Mcguire, I want to thank you so much for coming out. Shout out to our sponsors, Shy Fox Studios and Titan Voice. We don't have Stockton Miller here for the cameraman, but shout out to Stockton as well. Follow his YouTube channel. Follow my co-host Antonio Medford at Antonio Medford, the People's Motivator. You can find me online at the People's Bouncers. Guys, it was a fantastic episode, and I know that the Kings will be blessed by all the information that was here.
It was an honor. It was a pleasure.
Well, we can have you again, man.
Yeah, for sure. I hope it met Mcguire a reoccurring guest for sure. No doubt.
For sure, man. Just let me know, man.